Welcome to Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Today we're looking at a prototype of Neon Dawn from Caldwell Games. Neon Dawn is a character-building, open-world, post-apocalyptic adventure game for 1 to 5 players. It's being published by Caldwell Games, and it'll be on Kickstarter this October. In the game, players will be building their character, exploring the world, and completing missions. Let's look at the prototype components. There's an adventure book and rulebook, board tiles, lots of different player boards, cards, and a box for them, tokens, and more. At the beginning of the game, players get a player board and matching components. You can create your own character, or for beginning players, you can choose a character from the quick start build. Like the adventurer, which experiences the most mini adventures, the professional, that's more into combat, the capitalist, the movie star, and more. Players will take turns creating the main board. There will be 6 tiles surrounding the middle tile, and then they'll spawn their character onto the board. Depending on which settlement tile is picked, you choose the corresponding settlement board and set it up. Each player will have one mission that they'll be trying to accomplish. On your turn, you can spend a water ration to take 4 actions, or you can choose not to spend one to take just 3 actions instead. Players take 1 action at a time in turn order. They can do things like move, but be careful, you'll collect radiation counters when going through radiation hexes. You can investigate the hex you're on or next to, investigate things like a salvage site, points of interest, a water supply, and more. At the salvage site, you'll get a green ring and roll a die and take that many salvage cubes from the draw bag. Salvage can be used to build, complete schematics, or even be sold for credits. At the points of interest, another player will read from the adventure book based on the number investigated. The player investigating may have to pass a combat or survival check. They'll gain a reward and a yellow ring if successful. For example, you might come across a cave. You roll a d20, and then another player reads from that number. So if you rolled a 7, not far into the cave, you hear growling. Fearlessly, you press onward until your light glints off the many eyes of a pack of wild dogs. They eye you hungrily and begin to circle. Then you have a choice to either kill the wild dogs with a combat check or distract the dogs with a survival check, and hopefully you pass. There's a lot of points of interest, as you can see, with different encounters at each one. Another action you could take is fill your water rations and gain a luck token. Or if you're at the edge of the explored map, you could scout and draw a new map tile. Just make sure the dots are aligned when you place it. Players could visit a settlement and visit up to 3 locations, but could visit more with certain abilities. They could turn in their green rings for reputation, heal wounds, or construct a building. Of course, you're trying to gain fame throughout the game. You can spend 10 credits or 2 yellow rings in the pub to get one. Construct a building at the builder, or when reputation increases at 5 or 10 in the settlement. Completing a schematic gets you one. And of course, some missions, events, points of interest, and raider strongholds can award fame too. Bonus fame is awarded at the end of the game during the Day of Reckoning. From fame icons on item cards, and every 4 stars get you a fame from the trait cards. The player with the most fame at the end of the game wins. Now, in the game, the characters can die if all the wounds are on their player board, but all they do is lose their water rations, and they can respawn on the board. You can use that to your advantage. The adventure book is used in both the adventure game mode and the quick play mode. For the adventure mode, you use the living on the edge side, but for the quick play side, you turn the book to the other side. The player rolls a d20 like normal when reaching a point of interest, but there's less of a story and players choose the options there. There's even different game variants too, like a solo mode or a player versus player, and there's even different ways of building your character, like selecting cards in a draft. There are a lot of different types of cards in the game, but they are all clearly labeled and are understandable from the cost to the abilities. The illustrations almost have a Norman Rockwell feel to it on the survival manual, even with that post-apocalyptic theme, and there's even a handy-dandy quick reference guide on the back. I would compare this to games like Above and Below or Near and Far, where you have these adventure stories that you're reading, or even a game like Western Legends with the open world concept where you can take lots of different actions throughout the game. So if this sounds like something you would enjoy, check out Neon Dawn from Caldwell Games, coming to Kickstarter this October. 1 second. Okay, I'm back.